Hey everybody, this is George Brasher with Shakedown of Thunder Sports, and you're about to watch the two Irish brothers. Go Irish.
But Waters finds a hole, one man to beat, he's gone. Ricky Waters makes like Tim Brown on his first punt return. There are no penalty flags.
How's it going, everyone? I am Sean Moriarty.
I'm Benjamin Walters.
And this is the Two Irish Brothers Show.
Yep. Welcome in. Today, we're going to have some fun. We're going to have some fun today on the show. I mean, we had a lot of fun in the last episode. Let's just say that. Like, we had a lot of fun talking to Reggie Ho. Like, that was an absolute blast. Heck of a dude. Very humble. Loved it. But we're going to have some more fun. The fun train continues.
When do we not have fun on here?
Yeah, you're right about that.
Well,
when we lose, it's not that fun, okay? There are those, which is few and far between for Notre Dame these days, which is nice, but when we lose, I'll say that.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
But yeah, so we're gonna have some fun. We are doing easiest to hardest opponents Notre Dame's playing this year. It's an interesting year, though, Sean. It really is, because it's the biggest gripe that I've heard from fans coming into this season is we don't really have much of a home schedule. When you think about it, which they're not wrong. They're not wrong. We really only play one phenomenal team at home. We really only do.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. We'll get to it. But yeah, which whatever, not a bad thing. But yeah, so I'm excited. I had a lot of fun making my list.
Well, it got hard for me, and I told you this before we started filming, but it's just there's a few teams that are close to one another that could be at the same spot, and then there was the hardness of where to put some of these teams, actually, because there's several of them that are so close. It's just even at the top, it was kind of tough too. So you gotta have some factor in there that is the decider of all this.
Yeah.
So it was kind of tough for me.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing you want to start at 12, work our way up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you fire the first shot, my friend.
I say the easiest opponent on the schedule this year is Northern Illinois. Yes, they're coming off a bowl game win, but they actually had a losing record. So in my opinion, it was pretty much a no-brainer. Northern Illinois as the easiest opponent. And it's a home game. It's Northern Illinois, So I say they're the easiest opponent we're going to play this season.
Well, that's who I had at number 12 as well. Now Northern Illinois, they've had some success in the past. They did make it to the Orange Bowl one year, but
Florida State in the Orange Bowl.
And they got
decimated. Yeah, one of the few teams that was a group of 5 that made a bowl game like that and got decimated. So, believe it or not. So yeah.
That's all there is to say about that.
Yep.
So let's move up to number 11. Now in the 11th spot for me, I had Army.
Okay, I dig it.
And I say that because we played 2 service academies, and even though Army won the Army-Navy game last year, they don't have as much of an oomph as the Naval Academy does, or Air Force.
Okay.
I mean, you talk about when you compare the service academies, Air Force, they were pushing for an NY6 spot last year.
They were. Air Force had a phenomenal year last year. They did. Yep.
And now on to you.
So our service academies are switched. I have Navy as the second easiest opponent. They're still rebuilding. And it's a new head coach. He was new to start the season last year. Still getting his personnel, still getting kind of his system in place. It is a neutral field site. It's being played in MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. but that doesn't make much of a difference for me. So I say Navy's the second easiest on our schedule.
All right. I can see it. I can see them being there. Like up until number 7, maybe even as high as number 6, I could see any of these teams fitting there. It makes a lot of sense. All right. So do you want to kick us off for number 10?
Sure. Number 10, ironically, believe it or not, as an 11-win team for me. Oh, I'm taking that back. I take that back. Sorry, I digress. Another home game for us at number 3 as the third easiest is Virginia, University of Virginia. I look at it more of that it's because we're home. That's what it is. If we weren't home and it wasn't in November, it's senior day, all that, I would say it's a little bit further down the list, but it's cold, it's senior day, it's going to be a special day for a lot of these guys. It's going to be an easy game because Virginia's not going to know what hit them.
Okay, that does make sense. I can see
this will not be the Deshaun Kaiser, Will Fuller game, in my opinion. Or at least I hope not. Like, let's just say that.
Yeah, it's like, hold on there, or as Lee Corson would say, not so fast. Just hold up. All right, number 10 for me, I put Stanford.
Okay.
I have Stanford at number 10, mainly because, well, we tossed them around like a salad last year, got payback for what happened the year before, and, well, they pretty much got tossed around by everybody. So I know they're a rival, but looking at that they still have some work to do. And I think what happened to them, what we did to them last year, will be no different this year.
Okay. I dig it.
So that brings us up to number 9 on the schedule. And we can just alternate back and forth. You start at 10, I'll start 9. So at number 9, I have Navy. And it's kind of like what I said before. I think despite the fact that they are rebuilding, they've always been, when it comes to us playing service academies, they've been the more aggressive of them and Army. Because we always it seems like whenever we play Navy, and I've said this in past videos, we always come out a little banged up, if you will. Not necessarily injured, but we're feeling it.
Yeah. Yep. For me, ironically, because they make the top 5 of easiest, as an 11-win team, nonetheless, and a MAC championship, the 11-3 Miami Redhawks. And it's mostly because we're home against them. And it's going to be early in the season, so I feel like we're going to have our way pretty easily with Miami of Ohio.
Okay.
Josh Adams ran wild on them the last time we played them.
Yeah, I remember that game. Actually, I think that was one that I was at. So I remember that we kicked the crap out of them. So, all right, we are up to number 8.
Yep. So number 8 for me is the other service academy, which is Army. Yes, it's a neutral field site. Yes, it's in the Bronx. But it's service academy. That's not Air Force. It rounds out the top 5. So yeah.
This is what I'm talking about, where all these teams are so close together. And number 8 is where I had the Miami of Ohio Redhawks. See, because they're a tad bit higher up just because of the success they've had on the field with the number of wins and so on.
Yeah,
there's just a lot of these teams that they're better than. I just think Miami of Ohio would give us more of a challenge than Navy, Stanford, Army, Northern.
Yeah.
So, but they're going to be in for a long day when they play us.
Yes.
All right. So now we are at this is going to get really interesting, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7, I have the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
Okay.
I say that because even though they didn't have such a hot season last year. There was a few good teams they stuck around with. I mean, they stuck around with the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah.
With the way the Georgia Bulldogs program is right now, that's pretty impressive for a team like Georgia Tech to do that. So they become that team, and I think also because of the fact that they've gone with a more of like a pro style offense and abandoned the triple option. I think that's going to make them a tougher team.
Yeah. Oh, yes. So we're exactly the same on this one. I got Georgia Tech for another big reason that it's their home away from home. They're playing in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in Atlanta. Yeah, it's not their stadium, but I mean, it's hop, skip, and a jump. So it's a neutral field site, and one of 3 neutral field site games for Notre Dame this year. But like you said, this is a program that has given some bigger programs fits. So we cannot take Georgia Tech too lightly.
No.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, not that you take anybody lightly, but still.
Yeah. So then my next one, which will I might get some eyebrow raises on this one because it's pretty far down on the list.
Numbers. Yeah, we're at number 6, right?
So Stanford. Yes,
both
like
get some eyebrows.
Huh?
We're both going to get some eyebrows on this one.
Yeah. So yes, like you said, they got pretty much knocked around by everybody last year. But it's one of those games that I feel like this has trap game written all over it. Yes, it's at home. Yes, it's Stanford. But the years that we think we should totally dominate and beat Stanford are the years that we either lose to them or have a scare. So that's why I have them at number 6.
Number 6, and this is where people where I'll have eyebrows on me. I have Virginia at number 6,
Okay.
and I have that just because I feel that Virginia's the better team. I think, but of course, senior day, they're not screwing with us on our senior day, that's for sure. But it's just Virginia. They're those, as we've already said earlier, they're they're one of those teams that's kind of middle of the road. You're not exactly sure how they're going to go. Some weeks they're good, some weeks they're bad. You don't exactly know what you're going to get from them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
So yeah, I have them completely swapped with Stanford on this list.
Yeah, I dig it.
So now we're up to number 5.
Yep.
And at number 5,
the top 5 hard ones.
Yes, this is where it really got difficult. But I think I might be pretty close. Number 5, I have the Purdue Boilermakers.
Okay, I like it.
And my main reason for that is, yeah, they're still kind of a middle-of-the-road team, kind of like Virginia, not expected to make a lot of noise in the Big Ten. But regardless, they're still a long-time rival of ours.
Yes.
And when it comes to a rivalry matchup, and I guess you could say that about Stanford too, but difference between Purdue and Stanford. And I think Purdue, especially with Purdue and the what's the trophy that we play for? The Shillelagh Trophy that isn't. I know the Jeweled Shillelagh is what we play USC for, but I thought that there was a Shillelagh Trophy that Notre Dame and Purdue play for. Not that it really matters, but I was thinking there was something, but that's from the clicking. That's what we got the World Wide Web for.
I don't know. I'm having a hard time finding anything.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is,
my top 5 to start my top 5 is Louisville Cardinals. Yes, it's a home game, but this is a team that beat us last year. And this is a team that would love to beat us 2 years in a row. This is a team that is continuing to get better and not worse. So I feel like Louisville is a very scary top 5 opponent. So yeah, that's my number 5 in my number 5 spot.
okay.
And then like you started. So yeah, so in the number 4 spot for me, it kind of flipped with us. I have Purdue. It's an away game. It's in West Lafayette. It's like you said, a rival, a longtime rival, and not only a longtime rival, an in-state rival. There are so many people that bump heads, bump elbows, whatever you want to say, year in, year out. Purdue, Notre Dame, Purdue, Notre Dame, Purdue, Notre Dame. So Purdue makes me very, 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 very nervous. Very nervous. They stuck around the last time they played each other. We were at that game.
Mm-hmm. Super ass hot.
And, they stuck around for a good portion of that game. And that was a home game. So without their crowd. So yeah, I have that as my number 4 spot.
we did flip. I have the Louisville Cardinals at number 4. They have always been a super fast, very fast paced team. They can air it out. They can run if need be. They've just always been a nuisance.
Yeah.
They've always kept opposing defenses off balance because you don't really know for sure what you're going to get from them. So, yeah, it's simply like you said, either Purdue or Louisville could go in either one of these spots. It was tough.
Yeah.
So that takes us to number 3.
Yeah.
And at number 3, I have the Florida State Seminoles.
Okay.
Now, one could make the argument that I have them way too high on this list because, well, let's face it, they did lose a lot of talent. They don't have Jordan Travis anymore. Lost a lot of firepower on offense. Now, they do have DJ Uyunglele coming in to be their quarterback, and he is experienced and seasoned as far as a college quarterback goes. But it's hard to tell with Florida State because you don't know for sure what they're going to have or how bad they're going to fall back if they fall back. They're just a complete unknown right now, but they're still Florida State. I mean, the history with us and Florida State, I mean, what more do I need to say?
Yeah. Yep, we're on the same wavelength here. It's Florida State at number 3. They're in a really good spot right now. Before their revival, they were still pulling in a top 10 to top 15 recruiting class year in, year out. And now that they're kind of approaching back to that, you got to be really leery of them. They're a team we cannot take lightly. And thankfully, this is a home game and not in Doak Campbell Stadium. But number 3 for me too. Number 2 for me.
This is the big one. These are the 2 big ones.
Texas A&M. And people may be pretty shocked for both of us because you haven't even brought up A&M yet. For them being in the top 2 for us. But my big reason is it's not only the storyline, but it's in College Station. Home of the legit 12th man.
Yeah.
And it is hard. It's hard to win in College Station. Ask Alabama. It is a very hard environment to win in. So,
and the last time that we went into College Station to play Texas A&M was 2001. I was a sophomore in high school, and we got the crap kicked out of us. I believe it was 24-3. So. But at number 2 for me, and this is where we can just round it out. I actually had USC at number 2.
Okay.
So I just had it swapped.
Yeah, we're flipped.
Because this really could Texas A&M and USC could really go in either one of these 2 spots. But right. USC, I have them at number 2 because it still is a rival. We are at the Coliseum this year. They want payback for last year, and of course the tides have turned with this rivalry series, this classic rivalry. You know, there was a point where they beat us, I don't know how many years in a row.
Yep.
And now it's been, us being overall dominant in this series as of late. So we're getting our payback on the Trojans. So they're going to want to try to end that. And then of course I had Texas A&M at number 1, and basically for the reasons you pointed out. I mean, going to College Station, the 12th man, Loud environment, very crazy. I'm not. I mean, yes, we're gonna have our work cut out for us, but we have a veteran group.
Yeah.
Now maybe that this group has to gel because there's a lot of new players coming in. Riley Leonard, Chris Mitchell, wide receiver, Bo Collins. A lot of a number of filler guys, if you will.
Yes.
But still, though, gelling when you have a bunch of, even if the veterans are new to the program, they know what to expect. It makes gelling a heck of a lot easier. But we're definitely gonna need that for when we make that trip to College Station to open the season. So, we can always talk about this in a season preview. But that first game against A&M is going to say a lot, and that's why they're number one on my list.
Yeah.
But USC, technically, if you want to get down to it, you could have Texas A&M at number one, USC 1A.
Right. Yeah.
That's how I see it. So, Yep, the list right here.
And my number one was Southern Cal, and it is for the number one reason that is Lincoln Riley. Yes, our favorite guy in the world, Paul Feinbaum, had some really negative things to say about Lincoln Riley. And not to defend Lincoln Riley and Southern Cal in any way, shape, or form, because I cannot stand Southern Cal, but Paul Feinbaum's an idiot. Let's just say
that's pretty much what it is. It's not so much that you're defending Lincoln Riley, it's more that we all just hate Paul Feinbaum.
And it's the sole factor that it's the rivalry. It's the final game of the season. It's in Southern Cal, the Coliseum. We did what we did to them last year. They are not going to be happy about it. Lincoln Riley does not lose to the same opponent twice in 2 years. It is very rare that Lincoln Riley loses to the same team twice. So, Paul Feinbaum can say what he wants about Lincoln Riley, but Lincoln Riley has a winning record against the SEC. So he can say that he was skipping off to the Big Ten to avoid the SEC with Oklahoma, but I disagree. So, Southern Cal makes me really nervous. I don't care that Caleb Williams isn't there. I don't care that they've taken a step back, according to some people, and their defense is shaky. It's that typical anything can happen when it's a rivalry game. So
it's a war. It's an absolute war.
So, and the tides, like you said, the tides have turned in this rivalry. This is a rivalry now where you don't know who's going to win the game. You don't know. Like you just don't know. It depends on a multitude of factors with these games now. It is not just, Notre Dame's going to win these games, or Southern Cal's going to win these games. It's, if Southern Cal makes mistakes, or if Notre Dame makes mistakes, this is what's going to, So, yeah.
Well, and I know I've talked about this on plenty of videos in the past, but still it amazes me. Paul Feinbaum, a.k.a. a penis with ears, how that guy still has credibility, or people actually think he has credibility, is astonishing to me. The guy's a complete douche, and we all know he's an SEC homer. So what more is there to say?
Yeah. Yep.
So with that said, make sure you guys all go and check out the Reggie Ho interview that just debuted tonight. And Ben, I think we both had some lists that were, they were pretty close with one another. A few changes, but really from a lot of these teams, I mean, the only difference between us is probably Stanford and Virginia. Other than that, I think we were pretty well in the ballpark.
And who knows with those two? I mean, who knows? It could be that we cakewalk one and don't the other, or we? Who knows? I mean, it's football. Who knows?
Yeah, I hear you. Well, with that said, is there anything else you'd like to add?
I got nothing.
Same here. Mission accomplished. So, on that note, everyone, we hope you enjoyed the discussion here with our lists. And as always, everybody have a great night. God bless to all of you, and go Irish.
Go Irish, baby.